name is Miss Mary Welch, and I would like to read you a story today. My story is called Epossumondas Plays Possum. Now, who can tell me what playing possum might be? Those are some good answers. Let's read and see what happens. The story is written by Colleen Sally and illustrated by Janet Stevenson. One summer morning, as butterflies flitted between the zinnias, Epossumondas and his mama were sipping sweet tea and chit-chatting about this and that. "Look, Mama, that butterfly just flew right into the swamp all by itself," said Epossumondas. "Why do you always tell me not to go in the swamp by myself?" "Land's sake, Sugar Pie, the swamp is scary and dangerous," Mama said. "Paths go every which way. You head down one path, then another, and the first thing you know, you're all turned around and lost. And you don't want to get lost in the swamp. Because something's in there just waiting for little possums like you." "What is it, Mama?" "It's a loup-garou." "What's a loup-garou, Mama?" "I'm not sure, honey, but I suppose it looks like the most awful thing you could imagine." "What does a loup-garou sound like, Mama?" "I don't know, sweetie, but some say it has the scariest snarl you ever heard. Others say it has the meanest hiss, and some say it has the loudest snort." "What does a loup-garou do, Mama?" "Oh, that's the worst of it all. If little possums don't mind their mamas, the loup-garou snatches them right up with its big, ugly claws. So stay clear of that swamp, Epossumondas, and you'll be just fine. Now, I'll go inside and fix some lunch." Who can give me some examples of what they think a loup-garou might be? What kind of animal or creature do you think it could possibly be or look like? Let's see if we can find out. Epossumondas went back to thinking about this and that. The loup-garou, the swamp, the butterflies. And when the prettiest butterfly he ever saw flew by, he started thinking about chasing it. Now, those of you who've met Epossumondas know that he's not a naughty possum, but he is a forgetful possum. And when he saw that butterfly, he plumb forgot about the loup-garou. Without a thought of what Mama had said, Epossumondas ran right after that butterfly. You know where it went? Right into the swamp. And so did Epossumondas. He went off this way, no butterfly. He went off that way, no butterfly. He ran down path after path, every which way, no butterfly. Epossumondas stopped. "Which way do I go?" he wondered. "I'm lost." He remembered Mama's warning now, but he was too deep into the swamp to find his way back. Then, near a clump of cypress trees, he heard, "Rrr, rrr." "That's the scariest snarl I ever heard," Epossumondas gasped. "It must be the loup-garou. What'll I do?" Then he flopped back, legs up, eyes shut, perfectly still, just like a good possum should. Rrrr. The critter came closer and closer. Now, do you see what Possum's doing? Possum is playing possum. And if you look real closely in them bushes right there, you'll see what all the gird was going on about. Can you guess what might happen next? Let's read and find out. And closer. Hey, this possum is dead, it snarled. I don't eat no dead meat. And it padded off down the path. Epossumondas opened his eyes. Oh, that's no loup-garou. That's just a ferocious, terrifying old critter-eating swamp cat. So I'm not scared one little bit. But before he could run off, he heard, "That's the meanest hiss I ever heard," Epossumondas gasped. "It must be the loup-garou." So he flopped back down, legs up, eyes shut, perfectly still, just like a good possum should. That slithering thing came closer and closer. And closer. "This possum is dead," it hissed. "I don't eat no dead meat." And it slithered away. Epossumondas opened his eyes. "Oh, that's no loup-garou. It's just a terrible, slimy old possum-swallowing swamp snake. So I'm not scared, not one little bit." But before Epossumondas could run off, he heard, "That's the loudest snort I ever heard," Epossumondas gasped. "It must be the loup-garou." So he flopped back down, legs up, eyes shut, perfectly still, just like a good possum should. The creature stalked closer and closer. And closer. "Huh, this possum's dead," it snorted. "I don't eat no dead meat." And it stomped away. Epossumondas opened his eyes. "Oh, that's no loup-garou. It's just a nasty, crusty old varmint chopping swamp hog. So I'm not scared, not one little bit." But before he could run off, an enormous, cold, dark shadow moved over him. A shadow with wings, a shadow with claws. "Those big ugly claws will snatch me up, just like Mama said," Epossumondas gasped. "It must be the loup-garou." So he stayed down, legs up, eyes shut, perfectly still, just like a good possum should. He felt the shadow come closer and closer. Possum playing possum. And closer. And then those huge claws did take hold of Epossumondas and snatched him right up. Was he scared? Maybe, but he was also ticklish, really ticklish. He started wiggling and a-jiggling and a-giggling. He just couldn't help it. That shadow opened its claws and dropped upon Epossumondas like a hot potato. "Why, this varmint ain't dead," it squawked. "I never eat no live meat." And it flapped away. Epossumondas looked up. "Oh, that's no loup-garou. It's just a creepy, smelly old bone-picking swamp buzzard. So I'm not scared, not one little bit." Okay, compared to what happens to Possum when he plays dead with the swamp cat, snake, and hog versus what happens to him with the swamp buzzard, what is the difference? What happens to him with the other animals when he plays dead versus what happens to him with the swamp buzzard? As Epossumondas lay there all worn out from playing dead, wondering how he would ever find his way home, he heard, "Honey, where are you? Epossumondas, answer your mama." Epossumondas hollered, "Mama! Mama, I'm here!" In less than a minute, he saw his mama running towards him. "Oh, Mama," he cried, "I forgot what you said and I went in the swamp all by myself." What do you think Mama is going to be mad at Epossumondas Or do you think she's going to be happy that he's safe? Which one do you think she will be? Let's find out. Mama scooped him up. Sugar, you need to listen to me. I was worried sick that the loup-garou had gotten you. You must have been scared to death. Oh no, Mama, I didn't even see the loup-garou. Epossumondas laughed. All I saw was a ferocious, terrifying old critter-eating swamp cat, and then a terrible, slimy old possum-swallowing swamp snake, and then a nasty, crusty old varmint-chomping swamp hog, and then a creepy, smelly old bone-picking swamp buzzard that snatched me right up, so I wasn't scared one little bit. You saw what? Epossumondas. Epossumondas, you don't have the sense you were born with. You got to run away from those fearsome critters. But, Mama, I do have the sense I was born with, said Epossumondas. I just played dead, like every good possum should. Well, you sure are my clever little patootie, Mama told him. Now, I think we've both had enough excitement for one day. Let's go find ourselves some of that sweet tea. Do you think Mama was right in saying that a possum should have ran away from those scary swamp critters? Or do you think Epossumondas was right of playing dead like every good possum should do? So Epossumondas and his mama headed down the path toward home. There's also a note from the author. The loup-garou, an old French word for werewolf, has long been part of Louisiana lore. The legend of the loup-garou came to the deep south with European settlers who continued to pass stories down to the next generations. Although the loup-garou is most often thought to be part wolf, part human, in the South it's also an elusive swamp creature with mysterious characteristics. What does it look like? What does it sound like? And is it real? No one really knows. Any possum that encounters a threatening creature naturally uses the defense mechanisms of playing dead or playing possum in order to divert the danger. And surely any possum would use that skill against the loup-garou, just like Epossumondas.